Hello and welcome to another ECS recap. This time it's for days 16 to 18, getting pretty deep into the Counter-Strike action. And to kick things off with Europe, first of all, I think it's, I feel like each week we see the new struggles. And this week it was G2 that was struggling. First of all, we started to get more Mousesports games played. That means we had Mousesports versus G2 and Oscar. Well, Oscar, he's a problem, James.
Oscar is a team in himself.
He is. Before
the rest of his teammates turn up. But, I mean, we have to mention Chris J as well. He had a great performance with the rifle. I mean, we've known him to be a good rifler since he stopped being the primary sniper for the side, but he really showed it this week as well.
Absolutely, and I mean, that was just the first result which went awry and was a split series for G2. Then it went on to, a Fnatic with a Jumpy standing in, their coach standing in for Flusher, because Flusher had internet issues, and then again, another split series for G2, and it just looked like they weren't themselves.
Yeah, I think they missed some opportunities to exploit Jumpy when he was lurking on the T side for his team, taking Flusher's spot. They didn't really take advantage of that, the G2 team, and they ended up paying for it. And who better than Jumpy to finish off Inferno with a two-man spray down with a Mac-10? I think he had only 8 kills in that entire match as well, so that was a difficult one, and definitely I must have tilted G2.
And I mean, speaking of that tilt, just today as well, the third day, we saw another match for G2 where they were struggling again against NIP this time. I mean, don't get me wrong, NIP, they played great. NIP played really well. We saw a good performance out of Rez. We saw a good performance out of Draken. Get Right was just absolutely murdering things on the T side. But it did come down to the fact that G2, again, they looked a bit out of, like a fish out of water. They couldn't quite hit their shots. They couldn't quite get their game plan going.
Yeah, pretty much everything went right for NIP, more or less, in that match. And that was, I mean, they've had some struggles as well. So, I mean, yeah, G2 had a difficult time this week, but NIP finally get to finish a week on a high note where that puts them back into contention. Now there's 6 teams vying for top 4 spots, so it looks really competitive in Europe. Yeah,
NIP on that 6-6. It's a pretty interesting spot for them to be. I hope that they start to peak throughout the rest of the days that we have remaining. But moving on to North America, of course, it was all about SK, and SK are the ones struggling. Similar reason to Immortals in some senses, and it's funny how the teams are sort of tied together.
Yeah.
Loaning Bolts over, but then of course, Bolts is already on the roster for Immortals, so he can't play for SK in our season. So then they were using their Dead for this entire week, using typically their coach, typically a player that's not
using their Dead for the entire week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean that is something else entirely. But Dead, their coach, was standing in for them, and he ended up top fragging in a lot of matches, but they didn't win as many as they would have liked. They've played all their matches now, but I feel like there's a world where their fate ends up being out of their hands as far as their placing goes. Maybe they don't make top 4. Time will tell, and only time will tell, really, at this point. Yeah, if they do make finals, though, we would expect that Phelps will come and play for them, just like he'll play for them at the major. But he is in Brazil at the moment, and the ping was a problem, which is why Dead was playing.
Yeah, and they were definitely a bit fortunate because NRG were playing at the Americas Minor, and their internet was a bit dodgy when they just stepped up to play their game, and I think that was somewhat unforeseeable and very unfortunate for NRG. So they found themselves simply in a position where they couldn't quite play out their series. They played Cobblestone the first map, didn't go quite well. They were definitely experiencing some lag issues. Then they decided that, look, they just can't play this game, so they dropped the forfeit. And I think SK got away a bit, sort of with some fortune there, because NRG are definitely a scary team.
Yeah, who knows what the score would have been, but it is what it is, and it helps SK's round difference as well. Maybe they'll have a part to play. We'll find out as time goes on.
Yeah, so SK, as James mentioned, they're done 11-7, the final score. And that about does it for the recap as well. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.